Hi, I'm Mike Wallace. Tonight on 60 Minutes, we'll be discussing the San Andreas Fault. We'll be focusing on how the media portrays past earthquakes created by the fault, and how these events affect individuals throughout families near the fault line. But first, let's learn a little bit more about the fault.
These giant gashes in the Earth are reminders of our planet's awesome power. They are fault lines, fractures in the Earth's crust where huge slabs of rock slowly grind past each other. Most faults we can't see, but here in California, the San Andreas Fault is visible at the surface.
You can't have an earthquake without a fault. And I'm standing right now on what is perhaps the most famous fault in the world, the San Andreas Fault, that extends from Mexico down south, way up to Oregon in the north. This is one of the few places in the world where you can stand with one foot on one tectonic plate and one on another. In other words, this ground here is attached to New York and Iceland. The ground here is attached to Hawaii and Japan.
The San Andreas Fault sits on the boundary between the North American and Pacific plates. It's called a strike-slip fault, a place where two plates collide and try to slip past each other. As these plates move or creep in different directions, sometimes they get stuck. The longer they stay stuck, the more tension builds and the bigger the eventual quake. In other places, the plates move smoothly past each other. These areas buckle as the Earth shifts. The changes are subtle. Roger Billam keeps track of these changes with his creep meter, a device that measures movement along the fault. A computer collects data every minute for a year. This jump in the graph tells him the Earth shifted about 5 millimeters in a couple of hours. A small shift like this can have huge consequences for us.
That might not seem much, 5 millimeters, but it's affecting a long section of the fault, maybe 5 miles long, involving millions of tons of rock. Now, it really doesn't matter here. This is a nice sort of field, there aren't any people, but further north, this creep process and the things that are happening beneath the Earth are far more sinister.
The San Andreas Fault and its branches trigger more than 10,000 quakes a year. Sometimes the results are devastating. Just ask the people of Los Angeles or San Francisco. Over the last 2 decades, major quakes rocked both of these cities. Life goes on, but the risk remains. In an area this active, the next violent tremor could happen at any time.
The story will continue in a moment.
Welcome back to 60 Minutes. Now that we know a little bit about the fault, let's take a look at 3 specific communication theories and how they relate to this topic.
The first theory is agenda setting theory. The mass media has the ability to transfer issues on their news agenda to the public. The media determines what people will talk and think about. As many would agree, the media has an authority over society. With natural disasters being unpredictable, the public turns to the media, trusting them to relay important information to them. We are constantly told to stay tuned, installing fear for what might be happening next. Are certain disasters exaggerated, or is the media not telling us enough? More importantly, is the information the media telling us the truth? What the media tells us can be interpreted differently by the different genders.
The second theory we discuss is the gender-like theory. a term suggesting that masculine and feminine styles of discourse are best viewed as two distinct cultural dialects. Men are concerned mainly with status. They want to be viewed as manly and gain respect from that.
Worry about earthquakes?
No, not at all.
If you're going to worry about earthquakes, don't live in this area.
Remember the Morgan Hill earthquake?
Oh yeah, I loved it. I really like earthquakes. I know I'm crazy, but I do.
Women seek human connection, are seeking more emotions. Although men and women react differently, both responses are to be respected by the other. The different reactions are due to emotional differences.
Got the following something on TV.
Lord,
breaking news. Something has happened.
USGS is reporting an estimated 5.
I told you we had an earthquake. We had an earthquake. Oh my God.
We had an earthquake.
Nita, you felt it. We had an earthquake.
Shaking.
Oh my God. Oh God.
Another major view of personality developed during the 20th century is a phenomenological approach, which emphasizes people's self-perceptions and their drive for self-actualization as determinants of personality. This optimistic orientation holds that people are innately inclined toward goodness, love, and creativity, and that the primary natural motivation is the drive to fulfill one's potential. Carl Rogers, the figure whose name is most closely associated with phenomenological theories of personality, viewed authentic experience of oneself as the basic component of growth and well-being. This experience together of one's self-concept can be distorted when other people make the positive regard. We need dependent on conditions that require the suppression of our true feelings. The client-centered therapy developed by Rogers relies on the therapist's continuous demonstration of empathy and unconditional positive regard to give clients the self-confidence to express and act on their true feelings and beliefs. For example, in relationships, the problem at hand is often not based around what actually happened, but instead based around the perceptions and feelings of each individual in the relationship. The phenomenal field focuses on how one feels right now. Another prominent exponent of the phenomenological approach was Abraham Maslow, who placed self-actualization at the top of his hierarchy of human needs. Maslow focused on the need to replace a deficiency orientation, which consists of focusing on what one does not have, with a growth orientation based on satisfaction with one's identity and capabilities.
To the airport. Take the freeway, it'll be half the time.
Welcome back to 60 Minutes. As you saw in the film 2012, the media tends to dramatically portray natural disasters, specifically earthquakes. This is an example of the agenda-setting theory. The gender-like theory is shown when the father takes action and does everything in his power to get his family to safety. The phenomenological theory is shown when the father's initial instinct is to act in a protective manner for the good of his family. That's it for this episode of 60 Minutes. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.